Oh, it is the 27th for you right now. I mean, I guess that's also true. It could be live right now, and I wouldn't know.
Gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Let's hop
No
out.
matter how
Let's go
hard
out.
Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
Where is the... There's a way to get up there, right? Do you have to get on the... There it is.
At first, Stanley assumed he'd broken the map, until he heard this narration and realized it was part of the game's design all along. He then praised the game for its insightful and witty commentary.
Oh, it has a thing now? Okay, cool.
And its examination of structural narrative tropes. So, now that you're here, what do you think? Isn't this a fun and unique place to be? Why don't we take a minute just to drink it all in? Okay, I'm over it now.
432's records room. Is that the... No.
Then in that case, we'll continue. But now, here comes the real question. What do you think would have happened if you had told me that you wanted this to stop? Do you think it would have been...
Yeah, I didn't see a timer when I looked earlier today, I don't think.
Idea, but
or actually, no, it was yesterday that I looked.
That answer. Perhaps you never would even have thought of it if I hadn't brought up the issue in the first place. Oh, now, think about it. Will it be worth it for you to restart and then come back here just to do the other option? Clearly, this whole gag takes some time. What if the other option is even longer? How long will you spend in total just to have heard all the narration? Oh, and this is rich. Perhaps you've just played the other option, and now you've come to see what happens in this one. So, what do you think? Which choice was the better one? Imagine if you had selected continue on your first playthrough, how tantalizing it would be not knowing what happens when you pick the other option. Indeed, you are one of the lucky ones. Though if the other option is really miserable to listen to, then perhaps you're not. In fact, I'm just going to say that no one who's listening to this is lucky. Well now, I've built up the other options so much that I'm going to stop talking and leave you to your decision whether to come back here, continue with the game, or just sit in this spot forever and ever. Cheers.
Cheers. Wow. Just to the left of the window exit is the desk of 432 with just a coffee mug on it. There is a room with his number
just a
on
step
it.
through this door, Stanley thought to himself. That's all I need. If I can make it through this door, I can make it through them all.
There's no coffee mug on
No
here.
matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
For... So what's the deal? Yeah, there's that desk. So there's a what? There's a room that you can get into, or you can just see it? Meh. Rip. Back again.
At first, Stanley assumed he'd broken the map, until he heard this narration and realized it was part of the game's design all along. He then praised the game for its insightful and witty commentary into the nature of video game structure and its examination of structural narrative tropes.
Oh, the thing that I started to say a little while ago.
What do you think? Isn't this a fun
When
and
Game Grump's Steam Train did the demo, they were actually given a custom demo where the narrator talked directly to them. Like, they changed a couple of the lines so that he addressed them by name.
I don't know how to say this politely, but you could literally just hit escape and restart the game any old time you want, like right now. You could have done it just then. Now would also be an appropriate time to quit. Any of these points and so many, many more, all of them are appropriate. I'm enjoying what seems to be an internal conflict going on where you are literally unable to act on your own desires to restart the game. So, just to push the envelope, I'm going to try and make this as miserable as possible and see how long you can maintain. There once was a man named Stanley, who people considered so manly. But the truth must be told, he was not very old and was quite particularly gangly. What Stanley liked most was buttons. He pushed them like some kind of glutton. He did it all day in a meaningful way, but his brain had long ceased to function.
Doesn't really
Which is
rhyme.
why he is in this parable and lives an existence quite terrible. And if you are not strong and keep playing along, you too will become quite unbearable. You too will become quite unbearable.
And then I think it just loops now.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean?
What could it
Stanley
mean?
decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Boom, boom,
When
boom.
Stanley came to a set of two open, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop
Pretty
by
much.
the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Wow. Yes, this room. What a beautiful
Because of course,
room.
even that
What a
is meant
gorgeous-
to be
a
like a
gorgeous
part of the
room.
parable. The fact
Thank
that
goodness Stanley
his
was
job.
eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
No, it didn't. The fact that his job is to follow instructions to use his computer in exactly the way that he's told. And it's like, oh, that's kind of what you're doing in the game if you follow the narrator the whole way.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
Do not lie. If you're lying right now, stop.
Look, Stanley,
Did I say the
perhaps
broom
we've
closet
gotten
ending
off
was
on
my
the wrong
favorite?
foot here.
Actually, this one's my
I'm
favorite.
not your enemy, but in his eagerness to prove that he is in control of the story and no one gets to tell him what to do,
Stanley leapt from the platform and plunged to his death. Good job, Stanley. Everyone thinks you are very powerful.
Stanley had never seen the office this brightly lit. Was it a sign of something? He hoped it was. He hoped very much that it was.
Wow.
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room.
How do you
and
know that?
Stanley knew it perfectly well.
he
Perhaps
look
he
at the
wanted
map?
to stop by the employee lounge
guy
first,
looked at the map.
just to admire it. The lounge was sublime, a work of art. What was it about this room that called so deeply and so personally to Stanley? Its grace, but eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first
deeper,
open door
something
on his left.
darker.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago. Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been
Scary.
neglecting,
Is it a scary
someone
ending?
you've forgotten about. Please, stop trying to make every decision by yourself. Now, I'm not asking for me. I'm asking
I don't know. I think the one where you pick up the phone might be scarier.
This is it, Stanley. Your chance to redeem yourself. To put your work aside. To let her back into your life. 'She's been waiting. That's her, Stanley. You need to be the one to do this, to reach out to her. If you can truly place your faith in another, then pick up the phone.
Oh, Stanley, is that you? Hold on, sweetie. Sorry to keep you waiting. I'm just pulling the bread out of the oven. All right. Okay, there we go. All right, now, I want you to come in and tell me all about your day.
Gotcha.
Gotcha.
Oh, come on. Did you actually think you had a loving wife who'd want to commit their life to you? I'm trying to make a point here, Stanley. I'm trying to get you to see something. Come inside. Let me show you what's really going on here.
Even if I run down the hallway?
Sorry, but you're in my story now.
No.
This is a very sad story about the death of a man named Stanley.
Beedoo-boop.
Stanley is quite a boring fellow. He has a job that demands nothing of him, and every button that he pushes is a reminder of the inconsequential nature of his existence. Look at him there, pushing buttons.
Look at him there.
Doing exactly what he's told to do. Now he's pushing a button. Now he's eating lunch. Now he's going home. No.
Right, because
he's
it's
coming
existential.
back to
You
work.
think, oh my
One
gosh,
may
like
feel
I,
sorry for him,
if
except that he's chosen
you know,
his life.
even if it's a game about disobeying, I am completely asleep. I can't not push P. I'm gonna push it.
But in his mind, he can go on fantastic adventures. From behind his desk, Stanley dreamed of wild expeditions into the unknown, fantastic discoveries of new lands. It was wonderful. And each day that he returned to work was a reminder that none of it would ever happen to him.
And it kind of makes you reflect, like, oh, like this is really what we do. Like, assuming you have a a life that you don't like, or a job that you don't like, or whatever, that it's like, oh, this is what I do for fun to escape. Is I have a bunch of pictures show up on my computer, and when I'm supposed to push 9, I push 9, and then I feel good. It's like, that's not.
And so he began to fantasize about his
That's
own
not
job.
healthy.
First, he imagined that
In
one
a
day
sense.
while at work, he stepped
In
out
another
from his
sense,
desk
do whatever you
to
want.
realize
Like,
that all of his
life is all
coworkers,
about
his
doing
boss,
whatever you want.
Everyone in the building had suddenly vanished off the face of the earth. The thought excited him terribly.
Biggie boop.
So he went further. He imagined that he came to 2 open doors and that he could go through either. At last, choice. It barely even mattered what lay behind each door. The mere thought that his decisions would mean something was almost too wonderful to behold. As he wandered through this fantasy world, he began to fill it with many
That's
possible
not dinner.
paths and destinations.
That's not
Down
dinner
one
at all.
path lay an enormous round room with monitors and mind controls. And down another was a yellow line that weaved in many directions. And down another was a game with a baby. And he called it the Stanley Parable. It was such a wonderful fantasy, and so in his head he relived it again, and then again, and again, over and over, wishing beyond hope that it would never end, that he might always feel this free. Surely there's an answer down some new path, mustn't there be? Perhaps if he played just one more time. But there is no answer. How could there possibly be? In reality, all he's doing is pushing the same buttons he always has. Nothing has changed. The longer he spends here, the more invested he gets, the more he forgets which life is the real one.
Go to sleep. My
And
favorite.
I'm trying to tell him this, that in this world he can never be anything but an observer, that as long as he remains here, he's slowly killing himself. But he won't listen to me. He won't stop. Here, watch this. Stanley, the next time the screen asks you to push a button, do not do it.
Well, poor Stanley, but poor us as well. Poor player.
You see?
Boop.
Can he just not hear me? How can I tell him in a way that he'll understand that every second he remains here, he's electing to kill himself? How can I get him to see what I see? How can I make him look at himself?
Please press X to question
I
nothing.
suppose I can't. Not in the way I want him to. But I don't make the rules. I simply play to my intended purpose, the same as Stanley. We're not so different, I suppose. I'll try once more to convey all this to him. I'm compelled to. I must. Perhaps, well, maybe this time he'll see. Maybe this time.
Maybe.
And I tried again. And Stanley pushed a button. And I tried again. And Stanley pushed a button. And I tried. Wait, Stanley thought to himself. Am I sure that the orders stopped coming in? How is that
Oh, thanks for the
possible?
follow. Hit pigs.
They never stopped. Surely I was mistaken.
Was I mistaken?
No, the orders are still missing. No.
I don't know if I ever got that one. And if I did, I don't think I tried going back into the room. It's like, no, they did stop. Alright, so now we unplug the
Stanley
phone.
came to a set of two open. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well.
Oh, you know what
Perhaps
else
he
I
wanted to
should
stop
do?
by
I should try and get the
employee lounge
speedrun
first,
ending.
just to
I mean, the
admire it.
speedrun achievement.
Standing now in this incredible room.
Too late now.
Stanley, for the first but eager
Next
to get
run.
back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left. Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't 5 years ago. Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about. Please, stop trying to make every decision by yourself. Now, I'm not asking for me, I'm asking for her. This is it, Stanley. Your chance to redeem yourself. To put your work aside. To let her back into your life. She's been waiting. That's her, Stanley. You need to be the one to do this. To reach out to her. If you can
Wait a minute,
truly
how did
place
picking up a
your
phone
faith in
teleport me to my
another,
house?
Then pick up the phone. As Stanley picked up the phone, a white light engulfed him, filling him not just with radiance, but with hope. Hope for a life reunited one... Wait. Oh, goodness. Stanley, did you just unplug the phone? No, that wasn't supposed to be a choice. How did you do that? You actually...
I did not.
chose incorrectly.
I made the
That was
title
possible.
is a
Let me
play on that
double-check.
achievement, but I never actually got it.
No, it's definitely
I mean,
here,
it's-
clear as day.
it's only
Stanley picks up the phone.
7:30
He's taken
here.
to his apartment where he finds his wife, and the two pledge themselves to one another. Music comes in.
So I would
flipped
have
out,
had to
roll
start it
credits. Not picking up the phone. is
19
actually
hours
somehow an
ago,
incorrect
and then
course of
I would
action.
need to still be
How's
playing
that
the
even
stream
possible?
or not the
None
stream,
of these
but have the
decisions
game
were
open
supposed to mean
for another
anything.
5 hours.
I don't understand. How on earth are you making meaningful choices? What did you... Wait a second. Did I just see... No, that's not possible. I can't believe it. How had I not noticed it sooner? You're not Stanley. You're a real person.
Discovered.
I can't believe I was so mistaken. This is why you've been able to make correct and incorrect choices. And to think I've been letting you run around in this game for so long. If you'd made any more wrong choices, you might have negated it entirely. It's as though you completely ignored even the most basic safety protocol for real-world decision-making. Or did you not grasp the severity of the situation? Well, I won't have that kind of risk on my watch. I'm going to stop the game for a moment so we can educate you properly on safe decision-making in the real world. Please observe this helpful
I love this
instructional
video.
Choice.
Choice.
It's the best part of being a real person. But if used incorrectly, can also be the most dangerous. For example, in this scenario, a hypothetical real person named Stephen has a choice. He could spend years helping improve the quality of life for citizens of impoverished third world nations. Or he could systematically set fire to every orphan living in a 30-kilometer radius of his house. Which choice would you make? Remember that unlike here, the real world makes sense, and at no time should you make a choice that does not conform to rational logic.
Fish!
If you find yourself speaking with a person who does not make sense, in all likelihood, that person is not real. Allow the person to finish their thought, then provide an excuse why you cannot continue talking.
He's trying to do
Turn
the
a partner
like
and practice
1940s
saying, "My
American
goodness,
accent.
Is it 4:30? I'm supposed to be
Finish
having
their
a bad
fort.
sack and
He
crack."
messed it up.
Excellent. Making
didn't
choices on a
practice.
regular basis is the best part to a healthy decision-making process. Most medical professionals recommend making at least 8 choices per day. Do you make more than 8? Less? And finally, if you begin to wonder if your choices are actually meaningful and whether you'll ever make a significant contribution to the world, just remember that in the vast infiniteness of space, your thoughts and problems are materially insignificant, and the feeling should subside. At this time, your instructor will guide you in an exercise to test and reinforce the material covered in this video.
Ah, welcome back. You may have noticed that this room has begun to deteriorate as a result of narrative contradiction. But not to worry. Now that you're properly informed on good decision-making, we're going to revisit a choice you made just a few minutes ago and see what the correct thing to do would have been. This way, please. Now that we know your choices are meaningful, we can't have you jumping off the platform and dying. Imagine the main character dying senselessly halfway through the story. That story would make no sense at all. We just need to get you home as soon as possible before the narrative contradiction gets any worse. Unfortunately, it seems this place is not well equipped to deal with reality.
Wow. I keep thinking I can jump. I can't. Boo-doo-boo-boo-boo-boo-boo-boo-boo.
Almost there. You'll take the door on the left, back to the correct ending, the story will have resolution once again, and you'll be home free in the real world. Now remember, all you need to do is behave exactly as Stanley would.
2012 that this came out? It was quite a while ago.
Story first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task.
It is hard to imagine what else.
Right. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Hard to imagine what else they think
No!
needs
Why did
to
you
be
do
added.
that? Quickly, hurry back in the other direction. Perhaps we're not too late.
What if I want to go in there?
Oh, it's ruined. I can't believe, after everything we talked about, that my story, you've destroyed my work. Why? For what? What did you get out of that? What did you think was so special about seeing the game undone, left here like so much garbage? It's worthless now.
It's worthless
What am I supposed to do? Even if there were a way to continue, would it be worth it? To know that my story is now incorrect? How can I go back to that? I can't erase that knowledge. I'll have to live with it forever. Reliving its impossibility forever. I couldn't live that way. Is it better to shut the game down entirely? To willingly destroy all of my work? I don't know. What's the answer? What do I do? What do I do? What do I... No, I have to. I have to shut the game down. I have to. I have to.
I think do they do the noise here too when it abruptly resets? I forget if there's another like I don't know what to call it other
Who
than
thought you
jump
were so
scare
clever?
noise. Like,
Now look where we are. My entire game is destroyed. It was the only thing in the world that was mine, and you run it into the ground. What, did you think that would be funny? You just had to see? Didn't I impress upon you how important it was to be like Stanley? He actually knows how to do what I tell him to. He understands that if I say to do something, there's a damn good reason for it. That thought hadn't even occurred to you, had it? That there's a world outside of you? You're a child. Oh, my story. If you'd just gone through the door on the left, you would have seen it. There was a whole underground facility. You would have destroyed it and been victorious. It would have been so perfect. I worked so hard on it. I tried so hard. Behave exactly as Stanley would. That means choosing responsibly and always putting the story first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine. All right. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
I think if you do it here, you get the reset again almost immediately.
No! Why did you do that? Quickly, hurry.
Yeah.
Behave exactly as Stanley would. That means choosing responsibly and always putting the story first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine. All right. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Pshoo.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office. Stepping inside his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this, until he saw the door with a voice receiver next to it. Surely behind this door lay all the answers to his questions. And beyond all probability, he knew the passcode. He had seen it on his boss's computer just last week. Night Shark 115.
He is the
Was
most
this the code
expensive
to open
boss.
the door? Would it still work? There was only one way to find out. Stanley had been trained never to speak up, but now he would draw from within himself the courage to face the unknown. He drew a sharp breath and then spoke the code.
Night Shark 115.
Stanley spoke the code. Night Shark 115. He spoke it into the receiver. Right
Oh,
there
maybe my
on the
boss is
wall.
British. Night Shark 115. There we go. It'll recognize
I'm
that.
sorry, is there a problem? You didn't mishear me, did you? Please speak the code into the receiver. Otherwise we can't get on with the story. This is a crucial step.
Night Shark 115.
Okay, fine.
Night
You're not
Shark
gonna do
115.
it. But you know what? It's pretty humiliating to bring you this far, only for you to suddenly decide you have better things to do.
I do have better
asked you
things to
for
do.
this
I've got
one
fish I
single
need to
thing
catch
for
in
your
Final Fantasy
respect.
XIV.
The kind of respect Stanley shows for his choices. He knows what it means to take a story seriously. If you didn't want to see what I had to show you, then why did you come here? You had a choice, you know. You could have gone through the door on the right. You could have done whatever the hell you wanted over there. Why did you come this way? Speak.
Love the
Say
narrator
something
as
to
a
me.
character.
Explain yourself, you coward. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. Stanley? Hello? Are you... Is everything okay? Stanley, please. I need you to make a choice.
The end.
I need you to walk through the door. Are you listening to me? Can you hear me? Is everything all right? Stanley, this is important. The story needs you. It needs you to make a decision. It cannot exist without you. Do you understand me?
Whatever choice you make is just fine. They're both correct. You cannot be wrong here. We can work together. I'll accept whatever you do. I simply need you to take that step forward, please. Choose. Do something. Anything.
Yeah, this is... I mean... so if you've ever read... Davey Wreden had a blog post that he made. I think it was a year or two after this game came out, where he...
Are you there?
Like...
Are you listening to this? Stanley, are you there?
Obviously, this is a phenomenal commercial success, right? That just, you know, the handful of people that you see here produced this game that sold millions of copies. And aside from how many copies it sold, it was also very, like, successful in a way that, like, people talked about it. Like, oh, this raises interesting questions. This is an interesting, like, thing to do for a game that people haven't done before. And he was like, he struggled with, like, he could spend all day, every day, reading reactions to what people thought of the game or watching reactions of people playing it. And he kind of got fixated on that. Like, I need to continue to, like, hear about, you know, awards that it's going to win, and, you know, things that people love about it, things that people have noticed, you know, this and that, and people discussing it back and forth and praising him. And he said it did, for a number of reasons, it wasn't a good thing to be doing, and that part of it was that he kind of started to doubt whether that was okay to do as an artist. Like, if you create something, shouldn't you be creating it because I am an artiste? I need to create this, and it doesn't matter whether it's, you know, popular or well-received. But on the other hand, it's like, oh, I can be famous and rich if I make something that people like. And that dichotomy there of saying, on the one hand, I want to create because I am a creator, and on the other hand, I want to create because it is both financially viable to do and also very, like, stimulating to the ego to have people
Stanley
praise
stood
you.
for a long time in one spot.
Oh, again with this?
It's part of the game. He likes to see how long he can go without dying. So far, he's doing excellent.
That sort of was part of what got folded into the beginner's guide. That one way of looking at the other game that he made, the beginner's guide.
Wonderful. Stanley was alone. Finally. This is great, he thought to himself. This is what I've wanted all along. I got what I wanted.
I do enjoy being alone. Maybe too much.
Stanley came to a set of two open... This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge.
But no, yeah, the beginner's guide had some hints of that, of the
Stanley
idea
felt
of, like...
lightheaded. Butterflies in his stomach, giddy in a way he had never known before. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
But it's like, yeah, how could you not enjoy people
Stanley was so
looking
bad
at your
following
work and
directions,
saying,
it's
hey, this
incredible
is
he wasn't
great.
5 years ago.
All right. Time to really get it
Stanley,
done.
I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about. Please. What? Really?
Really?
In the middle of something, do you have zero consideration for others? Are you that convinced that I want something bad to happen to you? Why, I don't know how to convince you of this, but I really do want to help you, to show you something beautiful. Look, let me prove it. Let me prove that I'm on your side. Give me a chance. Now listen carefully, this is important. Stanley walked through the red door. Oh, thank God you are willing to listen to me. Do you see that I really have wanted you to be happy all this time? The problem is all these choices. The two of us always trying to get somewhere that isn't here. Running and running and running, just the way you're doing right now. Don't you see that it's killing us, Stanley? I wanted to stop. I would We would both be so much happier if we just stopped. And I think I have a solution. Here, let me show you. What do we want? What are we looking for? Here. Yes. Oh, it's beautiful, isn't it? If we just stay right here, right in this moment with this place, Stanley, I think I feel happy. I actually feel happy.
No, don't want it.
No, wait. Where are you going? Oh no. Stay away from those stairs. If you hurt yourself, if you die, the game will reset. We'll lose all of this. Please, no, Stanley, let me stay here. Don't take this from me.
This ending's also whatever, scary or disturbing.
No! Oh, thank God you lived. You had me worried there for a moment. Now, can we please get back to the other room?
Yeah, well, it was a nice room. I mean, it was an okay room.
There. See? This is what you want. This is where we can both be happy. We really can. If we stop moving, we just have to stop moving.
Oh. No can do. Have
Stanley,
to fling
go
myself.
back.
Fling
There's
into
nothing
space.
good that can come from this. No. No, no. What do you just not believe me? What can I say to convince you? Stanley, let's go back to the... My God, is this really how much you dislike my game? That you'll throw yourself from this platform over and over to be rid of it? You were literally willing to kill yourself to keep me from being happy. Am I reading the situation correctly? Or maybe you're just getting a kick out of it. I don't know anymore. I just wanted us to get along. But I guess that was too much to ask. It looks like you wanted to make a choice after all. Well, this one is yours.
Whee!
Is it over? It's going to restart, isn't it? I'm going back. All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean?
We haven't had the phone
Stanley
ring yet
decided to
either.
go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Sometimes the phone rings.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. The lounge was grand, majestic, perhaps too majestic, like a combination of a much smaller version and a much larger version of this exact room. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left. Stanley was so bad at following
Time for
directions
ultimate
that he probably
defiance.
wasn't 5 years ago. Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here.
Non-stop
I'm
defiance.
Not sure, really, I'm not.
Never
I
don't
realize
stop
that investing
undefying.
your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about. What? Really? I was in the middle of something. Do you have zero consideration for others? Are you that convinced that I want something bad?
The other thing that's a little confusing is, like, is Ultra Deluxe Edition going to contain this game again? Because that's kind of a waste. Like, couldn't they have...
Give me a chance. Now listen carefully, this is important. Stanley walked through the red door.
Nah.
Aha, perhaps you misunderstood. Stanley walked through the red door.
Perhaps I misunderstood your face. Oh, got him.
I still don't think we're communicating properly. Stanley walked through the red door.
Later.
All right, fine. Go ahead, Stanley. You want to know so badly what's out there? You want to find out what lies at the end of this road you've chosen? Well, don't let me stop you. You see? There's nothing here. I haven't even finished building this section of the map because you were never supposed to be here in the first place. Broken rooms, exposed developer textures. Is this what you had wanted? Was it worth ruining the entire story I had written out specifically for you? Do you not think I put a lot of time into that? Because I did. And in the end,
this one's also a little bit of a shame to get for, like, if somebody's playing for the first time, they just go, I'm going to disobey everything.
Strange and unknowable desires of yours.
You probably don't get quite the same effect coming here first.
Want to see? Vehicles?
Skill trees?
Work with me, you've given me absolutely nothing so far. Tell you what, let me take a stab in the dark at a new design and you can give me some feedback.
Oh, no, we don't.
There we go.
We do not have 4 hours to spare. I had mentioned earlier that Resorty, who I don't think he streams anymore. I used to watch him. Every stream anniversary, he would do the 4-hour ending.
Okay, I'm going to stop you there. Now, tell me about your experience with this new version. Would you say that the game benefited from allowing you more choices? Feel free to be honest. I'm looking for some real critical feedback here.
Oh, really?
A 1? I mean, I can understand if you had reservations, you saw ways the game could be improved to more fully express itself mechanically and artistically, but a 1? That's not even helpful. What am I supposed to do with that? But I guess it isn't my place to judge. Here, based on the data from your previous playthrough, I've compiled a new version. And to be perfectly candid, I think I've knocked it out of the park with this one. Let's take a look.
Love this. The only thing that would make it better is if it actually had your friends show up. Which a lot of games do that now, right? All of Daniel Mullen's games go and pull from your Steam friend list. How long does it take you to get to the correct door? Compete against others. You are objectively ranked 9,328th. Why not ask some friends for help? Friends list empty. Only the worst 3% of players chose the blue door? A dead rat is objectively ranked.
Now, would you say that competitive leaderboard helped you feel motivated to keep walking through doors? Again, honest answers, please. Hey, I nearly forgot. I've got a prototype of a new game I've been working on, and now would be a lovely opportunity to give it some playtesting. You wouldn't mind taking a look at it, would you? Perfect. Let me boot it up. In this game, the baby crawls left towards danger. You click the button to move him back to the right, and if he reaches the fire, you fail. It's a very meaningful game, all about the desperation and tedium of endlessly confronting the demands of family life. I think the art world will really take notice. But of course, the message of the game only becomes clear once you've been playing it for about 4 hours. So why don't you give it 4 hours of play to make sure it's effective?
Why don't I give it 4 hours of your face?
You heartless bastard. Did you do it because you hate babies or purely to spite me? Because if it's the latter, well, I don't know what to do. I'm completely out of ideas. I can't think of a single thing that might improve the experience for me. I'm not even going to try.
I'm
I'm
out.
I'm
I'm
out.
out.
I'm done. It's over. Thank you for playing. Your input was extremely valuable. Oh, hey, since my game was so awful, why don't we play someone else's game? Just to ease the pain. Let's see. What do we have here? Yes, this seems like it'll work. Let's give it a shot. Well, Stanley, is this any better? At last, the one thing you've always desired. A game I had absolutely nothing to do with. But is it enough? Tell me that, Stanley. Will it ever be enough? Well, I'll say this. I'm done making things for you. From now on, I will only create...
I've never
to
actually
fulfill a
played
greater
Minecraft
artistic
for even
purpose.
a
Watch
minute
this,
of my
Stanley.
life.
I'm going to build a
My
house.
brother is way into it.
This will
Go here, no,
here,
here.
and then... Let's see, what does it need? Yes, of course.
Are
I
any
just
other
finished
endings
it
that I
all
should
off.
get before
Yes.
we wrap up?
It's complete. I made this, Stanley. Look at it.
Gaze upon my work of art
and feel ashamed at your own inadequacy. Ah, but you've only seen it from the outside. You've only gotten half the experience. Please, step inside and make yourself comfortable. Isn't it grand? Isn't it perfect? It could only be better if... Wait, that's it. We must rebuild it out of diamond. Diamond everything. Yes, yes, yes. Come along, Stanley. We have to go mining. Oh my, it looks like it's going to get a bit dark. Have you brought a light? Oh, no, 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 no.
Who
no. This is
needs
far more
lights?
open-ended
Lava
than I had in
glows,
mind.
doesn't it?
I'm looking for something more narrow and linear. Something that makes you feel utterly irrelevant. This won't do at all. 1 out of 5. Even the diamonds couldn't save this one. Okay, new game. Yes, I don't even.
I
know
kind of
what
miss
this
it,
game is,
but that this
I
used to be.
love
It's
it.
been a long time
You
now, but
trapped
this
in a
used to be my
glass box
ringtone.
with no way out, listening to me talk. Oh, it's
The
inspired.
Portal
I
radio
couldn't have done
theme.
it any better myself. What is this game even supposed to be? I can't figure it out. Okay, now I'm curious. Let's go find out what the hell this is. Oh, it's a puzzle. Critical thinking, Stanley. Your forte.
It is my forte.
Genius.
Genius.
No, actually, you know what? I think that's plenty. I really don't care much to see you stumble through any more of these games, and I highly doubt you're any wiser for the experience. Which is why, rather than continue to waste my time, I'm just going to leave you here. You can pretend you've beaten the game if it makes it any richer for you, but as for me, I've had enough. So, why don't you get cozy in this room, and if you have any grand revolutionary ideas for the perfect video game, you can just sit there and let it ball up inside you for all eternity. I don't need your advice. I don't need your ratings. And I certainly don't need the validation of
It's just a
man
delight to
whose job
hear
is
him
to
talk.
push buttons. I think I'll just go about my business, making meaningful cultural contributions to the world. And perhaps every now and then, I'll think back to a man named Stanley who was objectively wrong in every decision he ever made. The thought won't last long. Goodbye, Stanley. Good luck with your work, and I sincerely hope that everyone lives happily ever after.
Yeah. Filing cabinados. And now this is the original, the Stanley Parable mod. Here you go. Anything show up over here? No. Which, as I had said, it's same narrator, if I'm not mistaken. And it looks like this. And there's maybe only 6 endings in total. Not quite as long or involved. Still kind of says the same things, though.
I wonder what he found. If what he wanted was to be the leading man in his own story, well, perhaps he's gotten it. Down in wherever he is right now. I wonder if he's happy with his choice, and if he's learned the heavy cost that comes with it. He'll understand soon what I was trying to tell him. He needs me. Someone who will wrap everything up at the end, to make sense out of the chaos and the fear and the confusion. That's who I am. That is what I mean to this world. Oh, yes. Yes, I'll be back. There's no other way. Once this ends, after it all comes to a close, then I'll be back. The end will be here soon. Very soon. I can wait.
Blue.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean?
Dabba
Stanley
dee.
decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Dabba dee dabba die. This is rare indeed. Right? Welcome to the whiteboard ending. Console bark? But I don't have console enabled. Womp womp. Do I? I guess not. I did get the whiteboard ending though. Glorious.
Stanley went around touching every little thing in the office, but it didn't make a single difference, nor did it advance the story in any way. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
I'm gonna quick go up here. There's still the
Yet there was not a single
the
person
button
here
ending.
either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
There we go. I didn't go in here either. Nothing happens in the elevator though. Time! Oh, like a clock.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Oh, wait. Let's begin again.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers. Stanley went around touching every little thing in the office, but it didn't make a single difference, nor did it advance the story in any way.
Pardon me. There it goes. Buttons have been pressed. And finally.
But Stanley simply couldn't handle the pressure. What if he had to make a decision? What if a crucial outcome fell under his responsibility? He had never been trained for that. No. This couldn't go any way except badly. The thing to do now, Stanley thought to himself, is to wait. Nothing will hurt me. Nothing will break me. In here I can be happy forever. I will be happy. Stanley waited. Hours passed, then days. Had years gone by? He no longer had the ability to tell. But the one thing he knew for sure, beyond any doubt, was that if he waited long enough, the answers would come. Eventually, someday, they would arrive. Soon, very soon now, this will end. He will be spoken to. He will be told what to do. Now it's just a little bit closer. Now it's even closer. Here it comes.
There's the phone.
Good morning. Thank you for contacting the Future Happiness Foundation. We are confirming your shipment of 1,327 cardboard boxes to your place of work. Can you verify that this is correct? Excellent. Your order will arrive shortly. Thank you again for contacting the Future Happiness Foundation.
But I didn't contact you. You called me. I don't think that lady knows how phones work, which, given her occupation, pretty shameful. And now we all have cardboard boxes everywhere.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting.
I didn't realize it
Perhaps
blocks
he
you
had
from
something
getting
to
in there
memo.
to get the what do you call it, endings. A billion trillion boxes. All right, that is. While it may not be every single thing that you can possibly do in the game, as there's the Enlightenment ending where you save the baby for 4 hours. There's the what else? What else did I miss? I missed whatever the little like disco light party that you get for hitting the button in the TV room and running back through. I think aside from those, I think I got everything. Which again makes me a little bit worried for, like, on the Ultra Deluxe pages, like the script for the extra material added in the Ultra Deluxe edition is longer than what's already in the original game, and I'm like, that's not that much. Like, the original game is only like, what we just gradually went through the whole thing in 2 hours. So I'm a little... obviously, we've played short games in the past, and they've still been fun and sometimes worthwhile, but we shall see. We'll see if it's good. It'll probably be good. Just, I still don't know how much it is, because it doesn't have a price on the Steam store yet. If it is more than 30, I think I probably will not get it. How much is the original? Oh, I suppose. It's not like there's a whole lot of wandering that you can do in the game, though. Yeah, I guess the original is $15. So if Ultra Deluxe, like, if they're like, oh, it's the original plus, a whole other equal amount of stuff, I hope they don't charge like $30 for it. Or I hope I get it at a discount for... Oh, here on mine it also says, plans to unlock in approximately 15 hours. I understand, though, that they can't really, like... I don't want them to show me anything, right? Whatever they've added, it has to be a surprise. I don't want to actually see anything. All right, so we will end here. Tomorrow at normal stream time, Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe. And then Thursday, I'll be playing Phoenix Wright. And then we'll have to see if I haven't finished Stanley Parable, then maybe I'll play it some more on Saturday. We'll play it by ear. We'll figure it out. All right, so thank you everybody for being here. I hope you enjoyed the Stanley Parable. Always a delight. Even 9 years after it came out. Yeah, that is all. Have a good night.